Hey YouTube, Puffin Snuff here, Ian, checking in as always from beautiful Northeast Ohio. Here today with a Snus review, Swedish Snus. This is the first in a series of the dual concurrent reviews that I've been talking about in the last few videos. I will drop a link down there to Chris over at In a Pinch. He will be reviewing this as well. His review may already be up, and if it's not, it will be shortly. We have not discussed, other than to arrange which snoozes we were going to review, we have not discussed these ahead of time. So there's been no comparing of notes. So you're going to get two totally different reviews, or maybe not too different at all if we're getting the same stuff out of it. So make sure you go over there and check his review out when you're done here. We are talking about Stark White from Lenny. Lenny is the brand. Stark White is the particular snus. I am not a master of Scandinavian languages, but I believe that Stark is Swedish for strong, which would make these essentially Lenny's strong white portions. The can itself, fairly straightforward, not a whole lot of muss and there's all sorts of glare in here. Not a whole lot of muss and fuss on that sucker, just the name. It does come with the convenience, I don't know what you call it, little place to toss the disused portions down in there when you're done until you can get to a trash can and get rid of them discreetly, which is always nice to have. The portions are white portions, which means they are a little drier and they take a little more time to release the nicotine, to release all of the flavor that's in there. The wetter portions are moist when you put them in there, and you get that pop right away. These take some time, so I actually put a portion up here a couple minutes before starting this video, and that's probably 3 or 4 minutes ago, and it's just now starting to develop all of that flavor. So the portion itself, pretty typical white portion. It is, as you can see, relatively dry. It's the size you would expect, and I've dropped it, but I found it. The tin aroma is kind of funky. It's not what I expected. I was expecting, when you see something like a strong white or something that doesn't indicate a flavor, my mind automatically goes to tobacco and bergamot. But I'm not getting bergamot out of here. I'm getting something notably herbaceous, and of course the fermented tobacco. But it's not what I'd expected. So in the mouth, now that we're starting to develop those flavors, the first thing I will say is nicotine is very present in this. I don't know what the percentage is or how many milligrams there are, but I think that the strong in the strong white is an adequate descriptor. Oftentimes it takes quite a bit of nicotine for me to pick up on it, between always having snus or snuff or pipe tobacco, the next helping, usually only a few minutes away. I have a fairly high tolerance for the stuff, but I'm picking it up. And it's very nice. If you're super nicotine sensitive, this could be a problem for you. If you're looking for something with that little bit of a punch, I think this guy's going to get you where you want to go. As to the flavor, it's coming across here the same way it was coming across in the nose. And I don't think there's a lot of bergamot in here at all. I think there are other things creating this flavor. First of all, bergamot itself has a certain citric and herbaceous quality to it. Those are both present, but in different ways than I would expect from the bergamot itself. The citrus is almost more of a mild orange or not sour lemon. This is not to say that this is a flavored fruit snuff. This is not like orange candy or lemon candy or anything like that. But I get the sense that perhaps the citric quality that's in there comes from some sort of orange or lemon essence. The the herbaceous, the vegetal kind of flavor. And this is going to sound bizarre. Um, and I'm stumbling here because I'm trying to pinpoint what I think it is. But there's something in here very reminiscent of a Italian red sauce, which is not to say tomatoes. And I'm struggling to say whether I think it's basil or I think it's oregano, but I'm pretty sure there's kind of an oregano uh, thing going on in there. And it sounds like that's bizarre to mix fermented tobacco with probably lemon and oregano. But working in concert, it really, really works. And it really is a very pleasant flavor. The tobacco is as you'd expect. And those adjunct flavors, I don't think obscure the tobacco base at all. You definitely get that. If you're coming from the snuff world, you know that I've spoken very highly about Viking Dark because it has that kind of earthy, leathery, briny, fermenty, dark, musty almost tobacco uh, scent to it. That translated to, flavor, to actual taste, is what comes across to me in this snus. And then you kind of add the top note of a citrus that I'm still not real comfortable saying what citrus I think it is. Um, and then that that oregano, maybe even a bay, not basil but bay. Um, God, I'm glad I have a whole can of this. I've had a few pouches out of here trying to form an opinion, and I've purposely avoided reading reviews or going to manufacturers' websites and trying to read what's in it, only because, kind of in the spirit of this, let's have these kind of off the cuff, no notes compared, good, honest review. In the spirit of that, I'm trying to not gather any sort of base information on the stuff. Um, God, it's strange. It's strange, but in a very good way. Um, I think if you are inclined to like the traditional snoozes, the tobacco and bergamot, I think this is probably kind of a unique take on it. I think it's something worth trying. I have no idea how much. That's part of the problem too. The one downside to not getting knowledge ahead of time is that I have no idea what this costs. This was sent to me as part of this project, so I mean, this could be a budget brand. This could be a ridiculously high-end brand. It's completely new to me. Um, I will say that regardless of the cost, I will purchase this for my own use beyond this review. Of course, the price will determine how much of it I buy at a time, but it's good. It's good. If you are, I think, a seasoned snoozer who is very well versed in the traditional snus flavors, I think this is a unique take on it. I think it is worth your time. I think if you're new to snus, this may be a little exotic, may be a little bizarre, and certainly the extra bump from the nicotine, if you're very new to the game, could be a little more than you're probably ready to handle. So, your mileage may vary, and proceed with caution and all of those disclaimers. But it's good stuff. So I'm going to call this a dark tobacco with citrus and oregano. Um, God only knows how far off from the truth I am. Now that I've done this video, I am going to go check this out and see what some others have said. And of course, I'm looking very much forward to seeing what Chris has to say about it. So um, I'm not going to, I usually put numbers, something out of 10 on these things. I don't think I'm going to put a number to this, only because um, I think well, let's put numbers to it. Why the hell not? Let's say if you're a new snoozer and you're not really accustomed to what snus is all about, this is probably a 3 or a 4 out of 10, only because it's relatively strong and because it's a funky kind of take on tradition. I would say that if you are a seasoned snoozer and perhaps you're looking to kind of expand beyond the traditional and see what's out there, and you can handle the nicotine, this is probably closer to an 8 or a 9. So very, very different, my take on this, depending on kind of where you fall on the snooze spectrum. Um, I think that's it. I think we covered it all. So that's all for me. Go check out Chris's video. Again, link is right down there. Um, until next time, when we will have another snooze review for you, take it easy.